Flash Theater LA was an idea that came to me about a year ago in response mostly to the young saying that, you know, for them it's really hard to get invested in theater because there are so many limitations.
1,000 kisses.
I'm John Lawrence Rivera. I am the artistic director of Playwrights Arena and also Flash Theater LA. I want to be able to present theater that is unique and different, that it just gets them a little bit more excited about it and gets them a little bit more involved and invested. We present art for the public for free, and they are performances that have up to about 50 to 70 people involved, and it's a storytelling in less than 10 minutes with lots of music, lots of theatrical forms, masks and puppetry and choreography and original music, that it happens at an instant's notice. So people who want to follow us, they follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and we give them information literally as early as about 3 days before the event, and we just say, hey, on Sunday at 3 o'clock, we will be on the corner of Union and 4th and be there. And people who are following us happen to be there, they go and see it, or people who happen to just be sitting in a cafe.
I wanted to do something in a public space that lent itself to, you know, very easy, no props, no lights, something like that, and people who could hear or experience it but not having to be in one localized area. So somebody who is sitting over there, somebody who is walking by over there, and look, it's happening right now.
When I started Flash Theater, I searched around to see if there are companies already doing it nationally, and there hasn't been anybody doing this kind of work yet. When you come to a Flash Theater performance, all bets are off. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. You can scream back to the actors. You can tweet about it. You can record them. You can do anything you want that you can't really do in a structured theater. And I think that is what is beautiful about Flash Theater LA, is that it really gives all of the power to the audience as far as whatever they want to do with that performance. The audiences that we've had have really affected the performances because it really feeds the energy to the performance.
I saw all these people from the streets just come in and just stand there and watch, and they were so engaged with the story, and that to me really represents Flash Theater LA, because it's the people of LA, especially in this location where it's very diverse, people coming from the streets from all walks of life coming together.
My husband and I heard that there was going to be a pop-up play, and we're big supporters of Playwrights Arena, and it seemed like a fun thing to do, to come on a Sunday afternoon, Memorial Day weekend, just to partake of an impromptu art experience. They do extraordinary work, and they really are committed to playwrights and artists of color, which I think is really important to bring diverse communities into the whole theatrical milieu.
I'm Tony Foster. I'm the playwright for Flash Theater number 9, story of a man I actually knew. He was a homeless man when I met him. His name was Lou, and he passed away last year. And we went to the memorial, and I found out that in his life he was actually a basketball star in college. So that got me thinking about how a person can go from such great heights to such great lows in a matter of a lifetime, and I thought I'd explore that here in 10 minutes. I've never done site-specific work before. I've never done plays that had very little dialogue before. So, and the team, it's been a family, really.
I think we've become, as a culture, I think we've become very stagnant and very complacent in our thinking of art. It's interesting that so many young people today, because of the technology, theater is not even in their consciousness. The idea of this interaction of art and and audience is not something that is familiar to them. This process of flash theater with no rules. Anybody can come. They can already be tweeting it. They can already be videotaping it and sending it off to their friends right on YouTube and saying, "Hey, I just saw this group," and that becomes a real experience for them.
I must be strong. Carry on.
I'm expecting to see people come out from different ends of the park, come together, seemingly unrelated, but then starting to relate with each other.
It is something that only happens once for us, for Flash Theater. Whatever we rehearse and we perform for that performance is never repeated again. It's only for that moment, for that time, for that space. Each of the Flash Theater performances have been rehearsed. We rehearsed them either for 3 or 4 days of rehearsals for a 10-minute piece, and there's a whole script that a playwright had written about it. It's been cast and figured out how we're going to tell the story. No one is really getting paid with Flash Theater LA. It is mostly a volunteer situation at this moment. I was teaching at USC for 3 years, and like I tell all my students, every director will have a different take. One particular scene cannot be performed identically because somebody will have a different perspective of that. In a new work, you can be very adventurous with them because there hasn't been any production of it ever anywhere. So there isn't anything to follow, and you're working with a playwright and you're developing a piece of work. And my question always with a playwright is, what are you trying to say in this scene? One of the directors at Union Station created this huge, beautiful puppet that came out of a suitcase, and I thought, there is theatricality.
I'm Greg Pasqua. I'm a composer and I'm a lyricist, and I'm involved with Playwrights Arena. I'm here to see Flash Theater.
My boyfriend was stabbed to death right outside the detour, just a few blocks away from here, right before it closed.
We came here in 1979 from the Philippines, and my mother, my brother, my sister, and myself came out here in June of 1979. So when I first came into Los Angeles, I wanted to be involved in theater, and so the natural fit for me was producing. I started veering into directing. I thought, well, you know what? I should really create a theater that really supports the voices of LA playwrights, because at that time it felt to me like LA playwrights had to be so famous and so spectacular someplace else, New York or LA or London, before they can come back here and become celebrated. And I said, well, why does it take those productions outside of LA? Why aren't we doing and nurturing them here? So that's when I started, I began Playwrights Arena. Playwrights Arena has always been dedicated to only new work by Los Angeles playwrights. Because of finances, we only do 2 shows a year as our main stage productions for Playwrights Arena. Los Angeles thankfully has a lot of brilliant, fantastic playwrights. We can't produce all of them, and we want to have relationships with many of them. One of the ideas for the Flash Theater LA is that inviting playwrights that we haven't had a relationship with before to do something with us. We didn't want to just say, well, we're Playwrights Arena, we celebrate LA playwrights, we produce LA playwrights, but we're always in one space. I wanted to be able to say, you know what? We're Playwrights Arena, we're about Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is huge. We do have a publicist that we hire on a show-by-show basis, so he takes care of that part of it. We have a grant writer, a fantastic grant writer who finds the money for us for some of our shows, and and I have a very strong, committed board of directors who really help in trying to find ways in supporting the work. I've been able to to keep the cost down and be as adventurous as I want to be with the programming.
Cross out, snap, double, and
Playwrights Arena is a member of our cultural roundtable, where they participate in the season, they participate in the discussion and stuff like that. It's like the beginning of theater that used to happen on the streets and the plaza and theater spaces, which is so exciting. If people don't come to the theater should go to the people.
The last 20 years has been really an amazing journey for me, and I think if somebody told me 20 years before that and said, you know, you will have a theater company of your own and create the work that you will create, I would say that's not going to happen.
Y el sol es otra chispita.